And as that starts, just a reminder about assistive technology. As we consider assistive technology, the framework we often use is the SET framework, and that stands for student, environment, tasks, and tools. And we look at the student, what are their needs, their strengths, what environments are they doing things in and existing in, what tasks are we asking them to do, or would they like to do, and what tools might be helpful for that. Of course, we look at everything through a lens of equity to make sure that every student is getting exactly what it is that they need. Our agenda today, we're going to have some great sharing by Stacia. We know this is a topic many of you have been wanting to hear about, and then we'll make sure that we have a couple minutes at the end for question and answers, and then we'll do a quick wrap up with some additional resources there. I threw in just a few of the very general links from Boom Cards, just how you get to the web page, and then some Facebook groups. So that's there in the slides if you want to access those. But without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Stacia to be able to share with us and to introduce herself.
Thank you, Julie. Thanks for having me today. And I'm glad that everybody's able to make it and talk about Boom Cards. I've been kind of obsessed with them for a while, but my name is Stacia Spiess, and I am a speech therapist at Moose Lake Community Schools. And yeah, I will be sharing my screen here. I'm just going to walk you guys through Boom Cards. So when Julie, you know what, Julie, we probably could take that down and then I'll start presenting. There we go. Thank you. So I am on, this is a screen that Julie had on. It's just the outline of what I'm going to talk about today. So I'm just showing it here so that it's in the recording too. And we will be going through things pretty quickly. That's my biggest fear, I said, is not having enough time. So I hope I can touch on everything. And I did look at questions, so hopefully I can answer everybody's questions throughout. Otherwise, at the end, yes, we can have questions too. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is how I was first exposed to Boom Cards. Last March is when I was first exposed to Boom Cards. And it was really during the time when all of a sudden we were going to be distance learning and the pandemic hit, and we were all kind of frazzled, like, okay, we're going to have to teach remotely. And so I was really signing up for everything free that was out there. And Boom Cards just happened to be one of them that was offering like a free subscription. So I signed up for it and just kind of went with it. And I've been using it ever since. So it's really a great resource, not even just for distance learning, but even when you're back in person. So really what Boom Cards are, there goes my phone again. We're just going to ignore that. But Boom Cards are really interactive flashcards. And it's just a way of making things a little more fun with the kids. So I've used them about 4 different ways in the last year. And first of all, it was through teletherapy. So we were going distance learning, and I needed something to do with those students that I was going to be seeing remotely. And so what I had used, I used Zoom. I chose Zoom, I think, just because our district went with it. It would work with Google Meet, just like what we're on now. But just how I shared my screen just now, I did that within Zoom. And I could share my screen, and then my student could see the Boom Card that I was seeing, and we could go through and interact together using that Boom Card. Another way that I used it is I would assign or give links to the Boom Cards that I wanted them to practice. So for example, if we went through a Boom Card, I would say, okay, I'm going to email you now, or your parent, depending on how old they were. And then you can click on the link and you can go through this whole Boom Card by yourself for extra practice. So that was the second way that I used. The third, for those of the students that couldn't necessarily Zoom with me, I would make pre-recorded videos, and I'd bring the Boom Card up on my screen, and then I would use Screencastify. For those of you that aren't familiar, Screencastify was also free at a point last year, and it really just videos your screens and whatever's on it. So when the Boom Card was on it, I could have my face on the side, and we could go through that Boom Card activity together, and it would record it, and then I would upload it to YouTube and send that link to the student, and they could watch it whenever they had a chance. And then the fourth way, now that we're back in person, is I use it on the smartboard. So all of those boom cards that I found and put into my library, it's not all for nothing. We can just drag them over onto the smartboard and do those in person as well. And if you don't have a smartboard, you can use a Chromebook or a laptop, whatever you have, iPad. So it's been really, really a useful tool. I know some people had questions about using it with a Chromebook versus a PC. And unfortunately, our Chromebooks aren't, they're not equipped to work as well as like a PC or a desktop. And so the Chromebooks don't have all of the capabilities. So if my student had a Chromebook on the other side, I could share a boom card with them, but I couldn't give them remote access, meaning they couldn't use the cursor and click on things. I had to be the one that was clicking on things. So a lot of students, though, didn't even really know that they had the option to do remote. So I would just talk through the card. They could still see it and see the fun pictures on it. And then I was the one that would click or drag things. And they still found it to be interactive. So that is a bummer. There were some students that didn't have Chromebooks and they were on their student's PC or their parents' PC or laptop. And those ones I could give remote access to. So it really just depends on what they have on the other side. Another question somebody had was in a group. I never did teletherapy as a group. I was always one-on-one with the students. But in a group, I think the easiest thing you could do is you could give remote access if they weren't on a Chromebook, but you'd have to give remote access one at a time. Because I don't think there's a way you can give remote access to multiple people, because then the mouse would be going all over the place. So you would have to go and click on remote access and click on each student, and then that specific student could click or drag, if that makes sense. So there are, I even had emailed Zoom early on and said, why can't I give remote access to my student on the other end? And they said it's the Chromebook. It just doesn't have the capabilities of a laptop or a desktop. So I'm just gonna leave this outline for now, and I'm gonna go into boom cards, and I'm gonna show you guys the membership options. So the first thing I want to tell you is you can do a lot with boom cards for free. In fact, you'll see up here, your subscription expired. Mine expired in June. You could have like the free all exclusive rights for a few months last year, but then they expired. But I really didn't lose anything because it depends on how you're going to use it. So if we go into the membership, if I go to this renew or upgrade, you can see the membership plans. And this is what I have, free, and it kind of tells you what you're getting. So when you're doing the free, you can look for boom cards, you can get free boom cards. You can have a group or a classroom, you can have up to 5 students, and you can make 5 decks on your own, which was fine for me because I really didn't make many decks. I went and got the free decks because they were out there and already created and I was short on time. But you can just compare the different memberships. For $35 a year, you can get the ultimate. And that's the one where you can have up to 8 groups or classrooms, 200 students, infinite amount of self-made decks. And you can do live monitoring and you can sell in Marketplace if you want to. So really, when you think about it, it's pretty inexpensive considering the things that we really spend a lot of money on as teachers and educators. But so you guys can go to the site and take a look at this, but really I just use the free. Maybe someday I will upgrade, but for now, free is working for me. So you can really navigate the site. The first thing you have to do is you do have to go and sign up. So even though it's free, you have to just sign up. And I think I just signed up through Google. You know how they have that click, like sign in with Google. And that's what I do for a lot of things, just because then I don't have to remember a password. So you can just sign up, whether you make a username and a password, or you sign in with your Google account, and then you are ready to roll. So up top here is where you will see how you can navigate. So the first thing I'm going to go to is the store, because we all want to know how to get free stuff, right? And there's these points. So some people had asked about points too. Instead of dollars, Boom Cards works on points. And a point is equal to a penny, really. So I don't know why they go by points, but sometimes it's a little less than a penny if you buy in bulk. So if you buy like 10,000 points, it's a little less than a penny for each point. So really affordable, for the most part, you're not paying much for some decks, but there are so many free ones that you really don't even have to pay anything if you don't want to. So what I do then is up at the top here, I'm in the store and I'm going to search for things. So you can see some different things that I've searched for, but I'm going to type in money, for example. And then the thing that I like to do is I like to sort low to high, because then you get the freebies. And see how you see 0 points here, 0, 0, 0. This goes on like forever. And you can do at the bottom here, see more, and it really goes on forever. And eventually you'll see some that are actually some points, but these ones, that's how many free ones there are. So let's say I was interested in one, right? I would click on it. So I'm going to click on money sorting. And before I add it to my library, I want to see, is it something I'd really use? So I'm going to go to full size preview. And then I can see, okay, I get what they're wanting me to do. Sort the money. So the kids would put the coins here and the bills here, and then they'd submit to check it out. And I got it wrong because I did finish them, I believe. But if it's something I wouldn't use, I just go back and then I go back out and I just keep searching, right? So you could spend lots of time searching for things. I have spent hours, because it's kind of fun to find free resources that you're like, I can use these with kids, and they're right at your fingertips. So let's say I did want that money sorting one though. Then what I would do is I would just add it to my library. And it says add to library, okay. And bada bing, bada boom, it's updated. It's in my library. Okay. So then I could go back and I could keep searching whatever I want. Literally whatever your topic is, there's probably something for it. And just use different words, because sometimes you find different things under different searches. So if I did like phonics, for example, and then I go low to high again, because I want those freebies. And then I can look. I can go in and preview things and look at things. So let's say I want to go into, I put in phonics, didn't I? And did it go back? Oh no. So if I go into phonics, I can go to full size preview and okay, they have letter tiles. I can skip around and see, what they're doing here. If it's not something I'd use, nah, but let's say I want it, I'm going to add it to my library again, and it's in there. So that's how you add to your library, and that's how you find free things. And if you want paid things, there's a way that you can buy those points. You just go in and buy points, and then it keeps track of your points, and they still go into your library the same way. So then if we go over to library, this is where you organize everything. So if you have Boom Cards, this may look familiar to you. If not, yours would only have a couple folders up here, because I've created all these other folders. With all of the free things are going to fill up fast. So you're going to want to make folders to keep them organized. Otherwise, this under purchased here, whether you've purchased it or it's free, it's going to be in your purchased folder. And there's tons of things that I've added. I mean, we've got over 11 pages. So if I'm looking for something specific, it's going to be really hard to find it. So what I did is I made folders for everything that, like subcategories for things that I have worked on with students. And mine are more speech language related, but WH questions, vocabulary, syllables, sequencing, rhyming, you can have as many folders as you want. So to make a folder, you just go to new folder, and I don't have a Valentine one. Valentine's Day is coming up. So I did new folder, and I'm just adding in Valentine's Day, and I press OK. and then it will automatically go right here. And then what I do is I go into my purchase unfoldered because those ones I haven't put in a folder yet. And you can see all of the things that I still need to house in a folder. So then what I do is I go down to that Valentine's Day and I have some Valentine ones here. I take them and I drag them right into Valentine's Day. And they're in that folder then. So if I go into Valentine's Day, there they are. So really easy to organize too. One thing in the library, you can see above each one or next to each one, there's this action button. And there's different things you can do with these boom cards. So if I click on action, you can assign that boom card to a certain student, which I'll show you in a little bit here. The thing I have been using a ton is FastPin. FastPin is where you want to send that boom card to a student. So I want to send it to a student and I want them to practice, right? So I'm going to send them a FastPin. So I click on the FastPin and it tells me what it is and I generate the pin. And then what I do is I just highlight that, I cut and paste it, and I send it to the student or to their parent in an email. And there is this pin that they have to type in. But in fact, you know what I'm going to show you guys? I'm going to copy and paste it. The last 4 digits there is always the pin, but I always type it separately for the student just in case. So then I go to my email and I'm going to email it to myself here and send it to myself. And then when I open it, 3KOR, I'll click on it. And this is what it's going to look like for them. 3KOR. Oops. 3KOR. Okay. And it brings them right to that card. So really kind of handy. So that is the FastPin. And I use that a ton, like I said, just for extra practice. Then after that is a hyperlink or a hyperplay link. And you might think, what's the difference between the FastPin and the hyperplay link? Because they're both links. The FastPin, the student does not have to log in. And the FastPin does not take data for you. It doesn't take any data. It's just like an extra way they can practice. Hyperplay link, it requires the student to log into Boom Cards, which I'll show you how to create a student here. And it takes data for you. So that's the big difference between FastPin and Hyperplay link. Then you can print, if you want, you can print the whole deck of Boom Cards. You can hide cards if there's certain ones that you don't want the student to play. There's other play settings you can go in and mess around with, but I really haven't done that. And you can view student performance. So keep this in mind. This is an area that you can view and assign. I'll talk about that more in a minute. You can rate things and you can contact the author or you can remove from the folder or delete. So those are the actions. So those are pretty important. But somebody had asked too about how do I add to Seesaw or Google Classroom or ClassDojo? That FastPin or the hyperplay link, you just copy and paste that link into Seesaw, ClassDojo, Google Classroom, and that will bring that student right to that Boom Card, if that makes sense. So, sorry guys, I'm speeding because I know we're almost out of time, but so now we've done library, we're gonna go to classes, and I'm gonna show you quickly how to add a class and students. So I already have a class here and I have some made up students. Some are my own children's names. But if I want a new classroom, I click new classroom and it just creates it for me. There's my class right here. And I can go into this classroom, which I'm in my class 2 right now, and I can do a new student. So I'm going to add new student and I'm going to put in their name, Bob. And then I use the same password for each of the kids because then I know what it is. And you can lock too. I have them locked so that the students can't change their password. But I've created Bob here and you can mess around with Bob's username if there's something easier. Bob 17, 18 maybe is easy to remember. Okay, and they'll tell you if that one's already taken. But then from here, you can click on Bob and you can see reports of things that he has done. You can change his password. You can assign things through here too. So remember back in the store under actions, we could assign that way too. So this is another way to assign. So if I want to assign something, I press assign and it automatically brings me to my entire library. And let's say Bob's working on some articulation. So I open my FVTH folder and I'm going to just click on the things that I want Bob to do. And then I X out and those are automatically assigned to Bob. And so through here, I can also see the report of what he's done. So these are the things I assigned. It looks like he hasn't done anything because I just added all that. Okay. So I want to show you, I'm going to go back into classes. That's how you add a class and add students. You can add students. I'm going to show you though where I had some pretend students here. I don't really use this section. That's why I'm saying pretend students. I don't use this option, but I want you guys just to be aware that this option is there. So let's say I want to see, we have Gabe 2012 here. I want to see how he's been doing. So I'm going to go to his report and look at here. It looks like he's been doing addition to 20 snowman and I can see he got 13 out of 14. I can click right on there and I can go to the red one is the one he didn't get and I click on that and it shows me exactly the one he got wrong. So you can get more information that way. So that's really handy too. When a student logs in, so the student has their username, you could see where this was Gabe 2012. I'm going to show you real quick what it looks like when they log in. So I'm going to log myself out. And if you go to Boom Cards, the student goes to Boom Cards and they go to students, sign in with Boom. I'm going to put in Gabe 2012 and my password. That is the same for all of my students. And this is what it looks like when Gabe logs in then. He can see what he's already done and he can see what else he needs to do. So it's really, really user-friendly. You could practice that with students too. So I'm going to go back to where I am and I'm going to sign in. I'm a teacher, sign in with Google. And so that's just quick classes. If you go to reports, it's just another way to look at the reports. So you can do that through classes too, but you can click on the class and you can click on the different decks that you've assigned and see their progress that way too, how much time it took them, how they did, and so forth. So the last thing, and I know we're not going to have much time for this, Julie, interrupt me if you need to, is the studio. So the studio is where you create the Boom Cards. I haven't done a lot of creating, to be honest with you guys, but I'm going to give you a little heads up on how it works. I've just used a bunch of those free cards. So the sales, this whole section is just for your customers if you're selling Boom Cards. But when you make Boom Cards, you go down here to make decks. Okay. And when you're going to create a new deck, you add, and this is what it looks like. So there's a template card over here, and the only time you use the template card is if you want every card after that to have like the same background or the same format. If not, then you go ahead and just skip that template card and start creating your cards here. So I'm going to show you real quick how to do that template card. I tend to I take a bunch of Google Images because I use the cards just for myself and my own purposes. Now, if you're going to sell in Marketplace, I would be careful with that because you can buy different images and such, and you don't want to get in trouble with copyright stuff. So I take from Google Images just because I know that I'm the only one using it. I'm not sharing it or selling it or making any money off of it. So I'm going to go and let's say I want a farm background. I'm typing that into Google, and I'm going to go to images. And let's say I like this farm background. I'm going to right click and save image as farm. And I put it on my desktop, easier for me to find. And then I go to Boom Cards, and I am on template because I want every card to have this background. And then I go down to background image, and you can see some other images I've added in there, but I'm going to upload. And there's my farm. I'm going to upload that in, and then I'm going to click, and there it is. And so being that it's a template card, every card, if I add more, they're all going to have that same background. Anything that's on that template will go into all the other cards. And so the left side are the different tools, and the right side has different tools. So I'm going to show you those just really, really quick. Think drag and drop. Okay, so for text, I'm going to take this and drop it in, and then I can go ahead and edit that text however I want. So I can say farm or whatever. For button, drag and drop. Let's say I want some buttons. I'm going to drag and drop them in there, and I can write whatever I want in them. But over on this side, I can decide, I'm going to want them to click on that for correct or incorrect. I can make that a right or wrong by changing these. I can make it a drag and drop, like if I want them to be able to drag it. I can make it duplicate. Oops. If I want more than one button. And I can delete if I want. And there's other things you can do. You can change the background color, the border, and so forth. If I want an image, I'm going to drag and drop that in, and it'll automatically bring up my image library. Now, I have some in here because I got them from Google Images and uploaded them the same way I did the farm picture. But you can add images that way. And the caption pics, let's say I want that apple, but I want it to say apple underneath. That makes it so that you can write apple underneath it. It's a little hard to see there. I'm going to delete. And you can delete that way, or you can just do like the escape bar too. You can do fractions if there's math. Drag and drop, remember. We can do drag and drop multiple choice, and you can type in different things. And again, over here, put in things that are correct or incorrect. So let's say I want this answer to be correct. If this one I want to be correct, I would just switch it. And then you can go in and change the words on there too. If you want visuals instead, then you would use the multi-pix, drag and drop. And then you click on those and it brings up your library to put the pictures in the library. And then fill in the blank. Julie, how are we on time? What do you think? Should I keep going?
We've got 12:30, so I know that some people, of course, if you are tight on time, people who are here, of course, feel free to log off. But Stacia, I wonder if before, I would love to hear you keep going on this, but I wonder if we want to open it up for some questions just in case people are tight on time. Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. So if anyone has any questions, you can type them in the chat window or pick up the mic, either one. And maybe it doesn't look like there are many, Stacia. Maybe if you want to keep going and people feel free to jump in with questions.
And I won't, and just too, if you guys are wondering on time, I'll just go maybe 5 more minutes and then I'll stop, because a lot of this you'll learn is you just have to play with it and then you will get the feel for it. So
sure. And one question did just come in on the chat window. Can we see how a few of the Boom cards are used with students?
Absolutely, sure. So I'm gonna go, can you guys still see what I'm doing here now?
Yep, we can.
I'm still presenting. Okay, good. So if I am in, oops, there we go. So I was trying to show you guys those different things because then I wanted to show you If I go back, this is all going to just stay there. And it's going to say Untitled Deck. So I'll show you one that I created. This one is Ocean Rhymes. And what we do, in fact, you know what? I'm going to go back because I'm going to show you it in my library. So under my library, I could go to self-published. Those are ones that I made, which you can see there's one. Because like I said, I didn't really make that many because there's so many free ones. But what I can do is I click on it, and whether I'm sharing it on the smartboard or if I'm sharing my screen over Zoom or like right now, we can play together. So I could give somebody access and they could play with me, but I would say something like, oh, we're working on rhyming today and you can see the fish and I can see it. And let's see which one rhymes with fish. We have fish dish, fish fit, fish foot, fish mash. And they would think and tell me if they have access, we could have them click it. If not, I would click it for them. And then it tells you correct or incorrect and goes on to the next card. And this will automatically do this. So those cards that I was just showing you how to make, it's automatically set up to go between cards like this. You don't have, there is a setting where you don't have to automatically go. You could make them go to like next in order to go to the next one too. So I'll show you what happens if you're wrong. What rhymes with squid? Squash. Nope. Whoops. So it kind of tells you, you got it wrong, you know, and then as a kid, I might go, okay, I'm going to skip that one. That was hard. Which rhymes with clam? Lamb. And it'll go through the whole thing until the very end, and then you're done. So I'll show you another one real quick in my library. Let's say we want to work on L's. So we have lots of free, literally, you guys, a lot of these are free. I've only paid for maybe 3 decks. So that gives you an idea of how many free ones and how generous people are. We're going to do the beach articulation with L. Okay, and for this one, it looks like we get to take turns and make our beach scene. So I'm going to move this little guy in, and then I have to say chocolate milk with my good L's, maybe 5 times, right? So, and if you're on Zoom or Google Meet, usually you can see those people and they can see your facial expressions and what you're doing with your tongue or your teeth. And then of course, if it's on the smartboard, you're just right here in person with them practicing that activity. So this one's a little different setup where you don't go to the next thing. It doesn't necessarily take data for you. Depends on the task. So do you guys want to see any other different ones, or? I could show you those last 2 in the studio, those last couple of things at the bottom. So I'm under my untitled decks here. I showed you those multi-picks, but there's also fill in the blank. I'll show you that one quick. Again, remember drag and drop, and you double click on that. Let's say I want them to have to type in an answer. So I'm going to do 10. And you'll be able to see it right away. See how you see 10, but let's say I drag a text in and I go 5 plus 5, 5 equals, I'm gonna drag that up. So now you see the answer there, right? But if you were to preview this, up here you can preview what you've done and what it would look like in a boom card. They don't see that. So then if they type in 10 and submit, they get it right. Okay. Whereas if I do 8 and submit, whoops, it's wrong. Okay. So that's kind of cool, the fill in the blank. The sound one, now that's one, I'm a freebie account, so I can't do that one right now. But video, drag and drop, and you can put a YouTube video in there. Just type in and then they'll be able to see that YouTube video, which is cool. Another thing you can do, and there won't be time today to talk about it, but you could always YouTube it. There's YouTube videos on and how to. If you have a PowerPoint or Google Slides that you want to be put into Boom Cards, there's a way you can do that really quick, and it just imports them all into Boom Cards, which is really cool. So other than that, I know that part, I feel like this part could probably be a whole session in itself, is playing with and creating Boom Cards. But I keep going back to, I've only created like 1 or 2 myself, and all the others are free ones that I have in my library. So the big thing, I think, is just to go to that store and search things. Make sure to do low to high because there's so many free ones. And then go into that library and make a bunch of folders and just start adding things to your folders. And you guys will have resources for a long time. And there's ways on the left here too, you could see you could sort, but I tend to not even use that because I just search by putting different things in, different words in. And every once in a while, go in and search again, because in the times that we're in, people are creating all the time. So there's so many new things, even on a daily, weekly basis. So great resources though. But any other questions? Anything else I can help with? I feel like I just like,
No, that was great, Stacia. I think it's a great introduction. There's a lot of good feedback as people are kind of logging off periodically, but saying very helpful, really, really helpful information. I'm going to stop the recording now, but we'll hang around and see if there are